We have many times over the years had our friends from Roberto Israel and Weiner on the show, and now we're going to have a new friend on the show. We have Stacey Friends. Welcome, Stacey.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your practice.
Well, my practice is entirely made up of trademark and copyright law, and adjunct to the copyright law is sort of arts and entertainment work. So I represent a lot of companies and with their trademarks and a lot of artistic people with their copyrights.
You know, I would have said, 10 years ago, I would have said, why are you in New England? And today I would say it less guarded, why are you in New England? Because I guess that is a growth area in New England today because we have tax credits for production companies and the arts seem to be on the rise here. Is that correct?
It's true. I mean, the trademark work balances everything out in terms of having a full practice,
right?
To be honest, but I love that part of the practice, and I do volunteer work also through Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts. So I've always done it from day one. And
are you a frustrated artist, or are you an artist yourself?
No, I'm an amateur, lots of things. Amateur photographer, amateur singer, yeah. I don't think I'm frustrated because I love what I do.
I shouldn't have used the word frustrated. Sorry, it was just the first thing that came to mind.
I dabble in artistic things.
Right. Is the trademark world changing a lot?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think the largest area in terms of change is in the area of famous marks, which is a separate area of the law. But otherwise, the rules stay somewhat the same. I think that there are more people aware of trademarks and aware of the registration process with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And I think that there have been news stories about, especially famous people, it seems like, applying to register certain marks, and then that starts this firestorm of, can they do that? How can they do that? And how does this work? And I think it's good, though, because it opens up the dialogue about trademarks. And
Right. So I was just looking for trends there. Are there new trends in copyright laws, anything like that? Have there been changes in that area?
That's a whole nother story.
Well, that's good. Then I opened the right chapter.
Yeah. I mean, but for entrepreneurs, though, I think it's back to sort of answer your question. Copyright law is changing and has changed and is about to, I think, change quite a bit because the current state of the law, I think a lot of people think, does not work with our state of technology. So that's one of the things that I think is coming down the pike. And I'm hoping actually to have a presentation about sort of the future of copyright law in a few months through the Boston Bar Association.
Why don't you let us into some of the topics that would be included in that?
Well, I'm not going to be speaking, but I can tell you that it's going to be focused on having the copyright law amended to reflect how things actually work in this day and age with the technology that we have in the internet and so on. It's changed how works are viewed and how they're used. It's confusing, I think, to the general public what is allowed and what is not allowed. So I think there'll be some changes along those lines. But
interesting. So how did you get into this whole area of the law? What's your evolution?
I was in law school hoping to do something with advocacy. I used to work with children.
Right.
And then I quickly
That
realized,
was honorable.
Yeah. I spent 10 years working with mostly
sad but honorable
underprivileged children. But I realized in the middle of law school two things. And one was that my dream job was not in Boston and was probably unattainable and probably didn't pay enough to pay my student loans.
Right.
And the second thing I realized was that I was doing well and could go to a big firm. And the advice from everyone was to sort of take that opportunity. So then it became this mad scramble of what do I do in a big firm, because I never imagined that in a million years. So I had a discussion with one of the professors, and she asked me a lot of questions about myself and my own interests, which are art and music and film and photography, and she suggested IP. So I studied IP from there on out, and when I looked for jobs, I focused on that, and that's what I'm